Hello, Apex Hours. My name is Ike, and welcome to my presentation about creating content for the Salesforce ecosystem. In this presentation, I'll be talking about how to create content in an authentic, organized, and systematic way. So let's get started. I've been in the ecosystem for about 8 years, and I've worn a lot of hats. I started as a Salesforce user in sales, then an admin, then a sales operations manager, a CPQ consultant, an ISV partner, and now I'm a full-time creator. I've been making content for the Salesforce community for about a year and a half. In the first year, my content was almost exclusively YouTube videos. In the past 6 months, I've created a lot of LinkedIn content, and I've expanded where I post fun images and memes and satirical Salesforce commercials. So here's my safe harbor statement. I have absolutely nothing to sell you. I have no products or courses. I simply love to create content about Salesforce, and I've learned a lot over the past 2 years that I'm very excited to share with you. So let's talk about the big picture. Why create and share content in the first place? Well, there are 3 main benefits. First, you can create meaningful connections. And these connections could be with new like-minded people, potential prospects, future business partners, or even individuals that normally are difficult to connect with. Your network will undoubtedly expand, which is a great thing. Next, it'll help you generate opportunities. And opportunities could mean a lot of different things. It could be new job opportunities, new clients, sponsorships, event invitations, speaking opportunities, and more. And thirdly, and very importantly, something that's rarely talked about is that it is an amazing creative outlet. One thing that I believe is missing from most Salesforce roles is the ability to exercise your creativity. So let's talk about some real life examples of people that have benefited from content creation within a short period of time. So first off, my good friend, Megan. She's been creating content in the ecosystem for about a year, and she focuses heavily on career advancement tips in the Salesforce ecosystem. But in just a short amount of time, she's already been recruited by Salesforce Ben to be an expert author. She's a Dreamforce speaker, and she's an MVP nominee. Next up, Shubham. He's been creating content for about 2 years, and he's already gained a loyal subscriber fan base of over 20,000 people. Now on YouTube, once you get past a certain threshold, and he's certainly exceeded it, you actually start to get paid for your content. So he's making money in his sleep, and this is just an extra perk. And he's also an MVP nominee. And last, me. So a cool part of my journey is that just 6 months into making videos, a developer saw my content, approached me, and asked if I could be a partner in his business, which is how I ended up getting experience as an ISV partner. And that was an opportunity that I would have never have dreamed of. So the point of all this is twofold. The ROI from creating content can be seen in months, not years. So it's fast. And the ROI can be in the form of monetary value, expanded in your network, professional and personal growth and fulfillment. So the ROI is also very diverse. Now, I've attended many webinars on this topic that I'm presenting today, and some of the most common questions that come up are, what should I talk about? How do I come up with material? And one that I don't have on this slide is also, but what if I'm not a subject matter expert? And don't worry, we're going to address all of these in this presentation. So let's take it from the top. What topic should you cover? Whatever topic you want to talk about, it must follow these 2 rules. First, choose a topic that interests you. It has to be something you believe that you can talk about for a regular basis, whether it's Salesforce in general, Salesforce flows, Salesforce careers, development, something specific like nonprofit cloud, or even a grilled cheese sandwich. It doesn't matter, because if you choose a topic that you don't have interest in, then the content ideation is much harder. You won't enjoy making content, and that will reflect in your work. And bad work will mean that no one engages with your content, and without engagement, you end up burning out very quickly. So choose something that you genuinely enjoy. Next, choose a topic that you know others have an interest in. After all, there needs to be an audience. It's okay if it's a niche. For example, Salesforce Flow is a niche, but there are a handful of people that have built their entire careers around that topic. Next, what's your style of content? You can think of this as finding your voice. And there are basically 5 styles of content categories. So let's go over them. First, educating. So are you teaching Salesforce topics? Are you giving how-tos? Are you giving tutorials? Next, entertaining. So memes, humorous content. 3, are you challenging? Are you challenging mainstream opinion or opinion of others? For example, you'll see lots of sales ops professionals often doing this when it comes to topics like Salesforce versus HubSpot or the value in certifications. 4, empathizing. You'll see a lot of posts about navigating the ecosystem or staying strong while studying or progressing in your Salesforce career. And last, promoting. Just getting a new certification or trying to promote an upcoming event or new courses, etc. You don't have to stick to any one of them. And very often they can be mixed. One of my favorite mixes is mixing education and entertainment, which they call edutainment. Next, what type of media should you produce? So of course you have your text, which is like blog articles. You have your videos, which could be long form or short form or micro form like shorts and TikToks, and audio like podcasts. At the end of the day, don't worry what type of media that you need to use. Just pick the format that you believe best gets the message across. So for example, if you have a humorous point, maybe an image or a meme will be the most efficient way as opposed to a 30-second video to get that point across. However, clearly a video would be the most effective way to showcase a how-to tutorial rather than pages and pages of text. Okay, so now we have a topic and we understand the different styles or voices. So how do we come up with specific content ideas? So here are 7 ways to come up with specific topics. First, your ideas. Straight up, open up a notepad and write down a list of your own existing ideas. If it's a topic that you're already interested in, then it's likely you already have a handful of ideas. They don't have to be all big, deep questions like, what's the meaning of life as it relates to a pickless field? It can just be as simple as, okay, here's a really quick tip on how to do X that I think will help a lot of people. Next, number 2, ASP, answer specific questions. For most topics, there are communities where people are currently asking and have already asked questions related to your topic. So for example, if I had the topic of nonprofit cloud, I can go into places like Reddit, Quora, communities, Google search, Discord, and you're going to find a lot of great Q&A about whatever topic you're talking about. So go ahead and pick questions that you think are the most interesting or most important to you and answer them in your own way. Even if it's already answered, your way of explaining may be way better than what's already out there. Number 3, unspoken truths. So there are silent opinions in every community. For example, sometimes Salesforce conferences can be awkward, or sometimes Salesforce stuff is expensive. I found this type of content to always do well because people feel like it's refreshing to see the quiet part said out loud, and you'd be surprised how many people have been waiting for someone like you to say what they're thinking. Number 4, hot takes. Are there any mainstream narratives or the status quo that you disagree with? For example, I see people passionately argue all the time about whether or not it's a great idea or a terrible idea to get experience by volunteering at a nonprofit as the admin. So there are a lot of topics like this that the community would love to hear your thoughts. Number 5, storytelling. So people love stories. In fact, the whole concept of golden hoodie winners, right? Because golden hoodie winners basically have inspirational Salesforce stories that people want to know about. So maybe you're connected to someone that has an inspirational story, or maybe you're connected with a subject matter expert that you want to interview. There's a lot of ways to tell stories with Salesforce that doesn't have to be a tutorial or how-to, but it's still related and people want to hear about it. Number 6, related inspiration. So you can get inspiration from the things that your colleagues or friends in the ecosystem are posting, or even things that the Salesforce mothership is posting. You can share your opinion on it. For example, last week, everyone, or so many people, including myself, were posting about the AI tool ChatGPT. So no one owns an idea. feel free to take this type of content and add your own voice and your own spin, or provide your own ideas on it. Number 7, unrelated inspiration. Look outside of Salesforce to find fun topics. Here's a true story. Outside of my family, I have 2 loves in my life. And the first is the UFC. I love the UFC. In fact, here's a picture of me and my wife at a UFC championship, and I'm wearing my Salesforce hoodie. And my second love, RuPaul's Drag Race. The point is, find interesting ways to weave your unrelated interests into Salesforce. So for instance, let's say I wanted to show off how to give a flow tutorial. Instead of saying, hey, look how my flow manages an employee record, I could say something like this. Look how my flow manages all the scheduled performances of the most famous drag queens. Or look how my flow can match fighters against each other according to their weight class and their rank for the entire roster of the UFC. So unrelated mixing is a really interesting way to show off your personality and your skills, and it's something that people love to read and appreciate. So after 1 or 2 sessions of sitting down for a couple hours and researching ideas with these 7 methods, let's say you write down a handful of ideas per method, you could have anywhere from 30 to 60 ideas. And personally, I post about 15 pieces of content a month. So that's already 4 months of content. So once you have ideas based off of these 7 methods of generating ideas, you can put them all into a spreadsheet. And you just need a few simple columns: topic, the type, and the date that you intend on posting, and then your date posted. This is really good mostly for accountability. You might be the only one who ever sees this, but by having a due date and date posted, you can kind of see if you're meeting your own expectations. Congratulations, you now have lots of content and it's organized in a way that you can keep track of it. All right, now it's time for some bonus tools and tips. So I'll share with you some of the tools I regularly use. Feel free to take a screenshot of these. All of these that I'm showing here on the left are free, or at least have free versions. I use the free version of everything you see here. So you have, for photo editing, I love Canva because it's very easy to look like you are a better designer than you really are. So Canva has lots of templates that look great, and they have lots of tailored templates depending on which platform you're posting to. Photopea is like the web version of Photoshop, and remove.bg will help separate an image in the foreground from the image in the background. So you can now cut out things really easily. For screen capturing, I definitely would say take a look at ShareX or OBS Studio. And for video editing, I prefer DaVinci Resolve. So now let's talk about some last tips. First, evergreen content. So evergreen means it's going to stay relevant for a long time. And this helps to get views over a long period of time. So for example, if you were to make content about each release cycle, let's say winter 22 release, although this is very valuable, it becomes obsolete the moment the next release comes out. So just keep in mind that if you're only coming out with material that is very timely but has an expiration, then be expecting those to get less engagement and views over time. Next, contribute to others. So leave as many meaningful comments on other posts as you can. The people you engage with will then be more likely to comment and engage with your posts. And the more engagement you have on your posts, the more the algorithm spreads its reach, so the cycle continues. Next, maximize value. You should be aiming to maximize the value of everything you do. Everything you post, even if it's funny or small, try to make it valuable to your audience. However, there is room for self-promotion. So it's okay to post your accomplishments. It's great to post your certs or any other self-promoting things. But I would suggest it be only 10% of your posts, so 1 out of 10. And it's okay, again, to post, but do not try and hide and sneaky self-promotions within your content, because people are way too smart and you will lose trust in your audience if you do this. So for example, how many times have you read an article and then you start to realize it's actually promotional material for an app or service? Or how many times have you seen a person that writes extremely generic advice and then they also include a totally unrelated smiling selfie in the post? And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with selfies. Selfies are great. It's just the content truly wasn't all about adding value to the viewer. There was a little bit of a sneaky self-promotion, a little bit vain that was included in your post, and that will lose trust. Next, tag people who you think will engage. If you tag people who don't engage, the algorithm will see it as being a little bit spammy. So for example, if I were to post and then I would tag the top 15 richest people or 15 celebrities who would never engage or reply back, the algorithm will think you're spamming people and it might bury your post. So try to just tag people that you believe will also engage to keep the reach going and expanding in whatever platform you're posting in. Next, don't wait to start. So take, for example, I love starting things on Monday because it just feels like it's a fresh start, but it's actually a bad habit because what it really means is I only want to wait until the conditions are right. And in reality, the timing is never right for anything. So what we end up doing is training ourselves to only work on content when time feels comfortable. And this ultimately makes it harder on ourselves to either get started or keep going. And lastly, frame to your truths. So many people in the Salesforce ecosystem struggle with imposter syndrome. I know this is something I've struggled with. So one way to make it easy on yourself is with framing. So for example, talk about your truths. If you solve something and it worked, say, hey, here's what I did to solve this, and I hope it helps you. Rather than compare it to, here's what you should or what you must do. This type of framing can help take the pressure off of you. So that way you don't personally feel like you have to be a subject matter expert to talk about it. Okay, that concludes my presentation. I hope you found a lot of value in it. Thank you so much to Apex Hours for letting me present, and happy content creating.